And that's that. Now, we're taking time off from the absolute basic things that we do for Christmas for me to share something with you that I very much want you to know about, which takes a little time, but is, I think, infinitely rewarding for special occasions. It's based on shoe paste. And the first thing I want to do is to make shoe paste with you to show you how incredibly easy it is. And also to stress, thank you, my darling, while showing you how incredibly inexpensive it is. I've got here, in this saucepan, 2 ounces of butter, 4½ fluid ounces of water. The two have dissolved together, and as they come to the boil, which is now, turn the heat down a little, and shoot 2½ ounces of sifted self-raising flour onto this. Then I turn the heat up again for a second until the mixture seethes over the top. Can you see the seethe? And then out goes the light. And then all that happens is they just get stirred, first quite slowly, and then very fast indeed, until you get an absolutely smooth paste. That is stage 1. But when you realize that a single batch of shoe paste will make you a dish of any one of the 3 dishes that I'm going to show you at the end of the program, and it uses 2 standard eggs, 2½ ounces of flour, 2 ounces of butter, and a little tap water, cannot, by any reasonable person, be called wildly extravagant. Now, as soon as you've got that to a smooth paste, like a roux, you know that one of old, the flour and water paste, which leaves the bottom and sides of the pan clear, you discard the spoon if you're clever, breaking one of your 2 eggs, and while this is going fast, I won't talk. You'll see what happens. Now, you have to go on beating past the globule stage until the mixture smooths. Now, there's the globule stage, which you can see for yourselves, I think. Nasty little lumps. And I go on working at full speed, because it's so nice and quick, until I get this really smooth paste. I'm leaving it all on the beaters, so I've had to switch them on again. That's better. Now, the mixture is made, except for that being scraped off. But in point of fact, it's by no means ready for cooking, because the most important point comes last. The really vital point. You see, many years ago, I got myself into a most terrible state of fury, because I read in a woman's magazine a perfectly correct recipe for making shoe paste, and a perfectly correct description of how you piped the various items out. And then when it was baked correctly and taken out of the oven, I nearly had kittens, because the instructions said, and then split the buns open, whatever shape they are, and with the handle of a teaspoon, scoop all the surplus goo from the middle. Well, of course, as you and I know, there shouldn't be any goo. And there's only one trick that ensures you will never have any goo in the middle. My face is going to be very red in a minute, because in here are buns. I'm going to take them out and show them to you cooked, and we're going to open them. And there won't be if you leave the shoe paste to get absolutely cold before you pipe it out. That's what we're going to do next. Now, in piping it out, you have an oiled baking sheet. Very little oil. And just work over the surface with the brush. I use a makeup brush. I buy a new one now for this sort of thing, and I sterilize it and then use that. And it works perfectly and never molts any hairs. Now, in here, I've got some of my cold shoe paste mixture in this icing bag with a 1/2-inch writing pipe. That is for the most luxurious kind of petit four that can exist. They cost a bomb in the only place I know where you can get them, which is in Paris. And there's nowhere in England you can buy them, so you can feel gloriously complacent when you make them for yourselves. This is for eclairs, big fat ones and cream buns, and is a 1-inch pipe. And you use it like this. You get the mixture down, twist the end of your bag so it doesn't come running up again into your hand, and have a knife dipped in cold water. And then you put the pipe just onto the tray, pull out to the length you want, allowing for expansion, and then lop it off with the knife. If there's any little peak showing, take the knife to it. If there's a little air bubble, smooth it off with the knife dipped in cold water and get a perfect éclair at the end. Now then for a cream bun. This time, you hold the bag vertically. Get a clean knife, dip it in cold water, and push. First pull it up, then push it down, then pull again a little, and then push down again until you get a good bun shape, and then cut it off. And then pat it into shape with that wet knife. And then you get a perfect bun when it comes out of the oven. So simple, when you know. Now, if you want to make this thing that I've got a reputation, quite an unjustifiable one, for making these wonderful petit fours, and they're so easy. You pipe little éclairs, like this. Steady it with a knife. That's the half-inch writing pipe. Lop it off. That's a bit big, actually. If this is the proper size, I wasn't thinking properly. That's the size for the little ones. You see? Like that. And every time a coconut. Should you forget, as one tends to do when you're not used to something, and you pipe it like this, and then you start pulling the end off, and you get in a bit of a mess, and do that, and you've got that dreadful streak there, I'll show you how to deal with it. First, you lop it off to the length you want, pick that up, put it back in the bag when you're at home. There isn't time to do that now. Then dip your knife again and shape it off. So you can always replace turf or tidy up. There's a little tiny peak there. Always be tidied up with that wet knife. Now then, for the little buns, which look adorable when they're done. I've demonstrated a peak. You see, if you do one thing wrongly, you make the next one wrong for yourself. Then for the little buns, vertical, press down ever so gently, pull up, press down, and lop off. Push down ever so gently. That's it. And lop off. And then that little peak goes immediately with the wetted knife. And if you think it looks a bit too broad in its beam, just straighten it off like that. Now again, you're going to be surprised at the oven temperature. I want you to put those in, Sarah. Where are you, my darling? You can do them in this oven if you want, doesn't matter. But I want you to see where they go. Right up high on the top shelf. Can you see that? And at gas mark 8. Now, it's somewhere around 12 minutes for the little ones. And it's somewhere around up to 30 for the very big ones, because it's no use you taking them out when they're pale. This is the mistake that so many housewives make, because they're more, thank you, my darling, they're more vulnerable to humidity in our natural humidity in our atmosphere than even meringues. And you know what they can go like on a rainy day? Biscuits. Do you see? You bake them really dark. Then they'll keep their shape and be perfect. And there are the little miniatures, and there are the little miniature buns. And now we shall fill them together, ice them together, and do the whole thing right through. And then I'll show you how to keep them if you make them 6 months before you want them. Take a baby one. Split it. Where's the goo? It's hollow, isn't it? Completely hollow. Look, in goes my finger. That's because, let's try a big one. Hollow. No. No goo. And look at the waste of goo. Even at a farthing a bun, this was what the little ones work out at. Well, there isn't a farthing now, but the equivalent to a farthing. You do them all, of course. Everyone the same. There we are. If you prefer, you can do them with scissors. Go right round the nose on one side. And again, same thing. Now, the mixture with which you fill them. If they're going to be like those ones which you come back from France saying, oh, I wish we could buy things like that in England, but of course one can't. You have confectioner's custard. This is what I've got in this bowl here. And of course it's in the booklet, like every single thing I'm saying again in this last program today. And the texture of it is that. But when you make it up, you can put it in a jar and you can keep it in ordinary domestic refrigeration for a month in cold weather and for about 3 weeks in the heat, like last summer. That's double cream. That's all I shall use for filling everything that you will see on my display table today, so you can work out the cost of that. And the confectioner's custard, see if I can remember, is 4 ounces of caster sugar, half a pint of milk, and the yolks of 3 eggs. So it won't ruin you. And that's the mixture that you fill in, and that's the one that tastes like the ones you have in France. Now then, let's have some custard in. Be generous with it. 1/2 only. Dump that on the top. If you see any running about, wipe it off with clean fingers. And we'll fill one of those, we'll fill an éclair. That's it. Trying all the time to let you see what's going on right inside. Always onto the bottom. And that's enough for anybody. If you put any more, they'll take one bite and need to be in their bath, you know, because it'll come oozing out. As Dawnford Yates said many years ago in one of his books, to eat éclairs and cream buns that are properly made, you should be sitting in your bath, in your altogether. But that's not very suitable for parties. There we are. Now we do that one. Then we'll do a baby. And then we'll start on the icing, which is the greatest fun and so simple. It's all simple. Is he filled? No. Let's take him right off and do him then. Then you really get a complete view of a hollow case as well, don't you? That's it. Always on a rack, and then in little blobs that drop through, if you're working on a clean surface, you can scoop up and put back in the bowl afterwards. Now then, I must have one of these. We have, but we haven't filled it. So, and honestly, sometimes I have made so many of these that I've thought, well, it's perfectly ridiculous because they'll never be eaten. And my friends have the nerve to ask for doggy bags for the children. So I don't put liqueurs in all of them, because you can flavour this confectioner's custard, remember, with anything you like. You don't have to have the plain vanilla one. Or you can give it chocolate or coffee, liqueurs from little tiny miniature bottles. You know, the sky's the limit. Now, we've had enough of that. So let's try the icing. And by the way, just before we go, I must show you this as a matter of interest. Supposing you want to do something entirely different as a show-off. You can pipe little rings, like baby Gâteau Saint-Honoré. Look. And tidy them off, which I'm not doing now because I'm just showing you this a little bit of extra and I haven't time for it. Do you see? So you can get the most dreamy things out of it and everybody wonders how you've done it. And there it is. Now then, icing. You have it here. You put some more icing sugar in and you have a little bit of colouring. Just one is all I shall have time for, but you must get it thick. You see, it must be very, very thick. Like that. And then, this is pink, doesn't matter which one. And then all you have to do when you get it on to make it look right is to take it on your spoon and bring your spoon round so that it runs over and then runs down. And there we are. We leave that one to drip down, then I'll come back and tidy it off as I did the others. Come over and have a look at the finished ones. Here are the pink, rich, lush cream buns. There are the little miniatures for very special parties, which keep so well, and those are coffee eclairs. And this is what can be done with choux paste, just buns. It's called a coq-en-bouche. And this is the box I want you to use, this kind of plastic box, to pack them in their little paper cases when they're iced and everything. Pop them in your freezer or the freezing compartment of your fridge. Forget about them. Thaw them an hour before you need them and they'll be perfect. Now may I wish you not only a very happy Christmas, but some peace and security, and a little peace of mind as well. Safety in 1976.